a discussion on, which will help me to build a base for you all.
So I would request participants to kindly share a bit of your sharings in previous session.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, we have seen so many examples of green entrepreneurship. The various speakers has come and they have shown us different type of green concept that we can establish, that we can make understand to our students. So
Mhm.
all the activity, even we have seen the tribes, how that tribes are using their indigenous knowledge, and we can use their indigenous knowledge for our entrepreneurship establishment or
Okay.
our startup. So these type of things we have seen.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
According to me, what I have observed till now, that green entrepreneurship is like a combination of an entrepreneur who is looking to sustain for the sustainable development goals. They are included in that vision. He is also adopting social entrepreneurship. He is also looking for the agripreneurship, and which is not so profit oriented, rather socially development and socially transformation oriented. So in a nutshell, in a conclusion, that I can say that green entrepreneur is a combination of all these things, according to me, what I have observed.
Okay. All right. So, I also see a lot of topics that have been talked about in terms of, if at all we would want to get into entrepreneurship today. I think you all are well equipped in terms of knowing how we can get into this entrepreneurship. What could be the idea? What exactly is green entrepreneurship? What are, government support schemes available? I also see a dash of finances, the topics related to finances that have been covered already. So there's a mix of, where I would be assuming that now we are ready and equipped to start off. Correct. We're ready with an idea. We know what green entrepreneurship is. We know where could I approach with, my plan. These are certain assumptions that I will be making, running through the topics that I just saw that you've covered. And my role here is to now give you another important weapon, which is how do I take my concept and commercialize it? Because that's, I think, the biggest gap which we have to churn out. And I'm really delighted to have a conversation on a topic like this, which is very close to my heart, because I've been handling incubation centers for a couple of years. This has been around 4 years of tenure where I was at a government posting, where a lot of entrepreneurs came in for incubation help to us. And we realized that the concept is phenomenally well, the technology is great, it is sustainable, but what is really required is that we need to blow our own trumpets. We need to reach out to our potential markets, and we also need to tell people why are we different than any other entrepreneur or any other competitor of ours. So, like I said, like Sir brief, that this journey also started off when we were back at IIM Ahmedabad, where we were handling a couple of FDPs. So newly, I'm talking about half a decade back, where newly people started talking about green, the complete green mechanism, or we were talking about, I would say, the concept of 3Ps. Has anybody spoken of the concept of 3P before? Of course, I'll share the slides and talk more about it, but are you all aware of what is a 3P concept?
Not yet.
Okay, okay. I'll just share it with you, sir. Give me a moment. I'm sharing the screen with you all. And also one more thing, which, I may be bugging you all with a lot of questions, but when you hear marketing concepts or when you hear the word green marketing, if that's the short form of marketing management for green enterprises or green entrepreneurs using various tools and techniques for sales, what comes to your mind as an expectation? Is there some expectation that you have in your mind that this is what we want to take back from a session from like this? So you can set your expectations also with me before we move on to the slides.
Ma'am, can I say?
Please go ahead.
Ma'am, actually, what I see that everybody talks about if I am creating any product or any idea, so how can I market in my market area? Means how can I market my product? But nobody talks about that. if I have an idea, so how can I attract investors? Means how can I do marketing for my product that investors can invest in my idea? So if I get this type of if I get light on that, so I will be benefited, I think.
Okay, okay. I'm sure, when you touch base with investors, there will be people talking about business plans. So when you have a session typically on how do I create a business plan, starting off with my business pitch, I think that session is going to cover it, but I'll certainly try to briefly throw some light on this too.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other thing that you would want to add?
Ma'am,
In terms of-
indirectly, the main marketing motto for this, like right now, is that like we do not inherit the earth or the mother earth from our parents. Indirectly, we are borrowing it from our children or the next generation. So that motto will be enough for us to conserve or think about like green innovation and the green entrepreneurship.
Okay. All right.
Ma'am, can I add something?
Please go ahead.
Ma'am, like we were been doing certain idea sometime for going to green entrepreneurship, but like exactly coping up to the societal needs, what is the main problem statement behind it? We need to observe the environment. We need to be with the people, like in which particular location we belong to, what are their requirements, understanding their perspective, and accordingly implementing it. And so that to associate through some financial support is really very important aspect, I guess, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I'll touch base on this too. See, we have a liberty of talking about topics which you want me to talk about. So it's, that's the reason why I'm giving you this time to tell me that. So I understand that, yes, we need to know how do I pitch my idea, what kind of little brand positioning that I could do. How do I become a sustainable kind of a brand to tell people that I'm more inclined towards society? I understand that as a second important pointer.
Okay. Ma'am, like what would be the best way, size of a report for these kind of innovative ideas or green entrepreneurship when we are trying or
I have a quick question. When you say size of the report, are we looking at specifically how many pages should I write in terms of my business plan? Is that what you're trying to ask me?
yes, ma'am, that and as well as contents also.
Okay. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about that too.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Any specific source of marketing that you would want to know? Any kind of contemporary things which you think we should highlight, talk about them? Okay, so the idea of the discussion that I'm going to have or take you through a presentation, I have just shared my screen. Please also confirm if you can see the same.
No, ma'am.
You're not able to see it even now?
Visible, visible.
Okay, great. All right. Okay. So what I intend to do here is make a very interactive kind of a session for all of us. I will be taking down a few points to discuss. Okay. So a few points which I have to share, a few points which we will be having, an interaction together. Meantime, I request all of you to please kindly keep your audios on mute. If there's a question, you feel free to interrupt at any point of time. Okay, so I was speaking about something called as 3 Ps or triple bottom line. That is what it is called. Now, in the finances, you may already be aware of what is a bottom line. Are you aware of the concept of bottom line? Like I said, I'm going to keep it very interactive, so you also get a platform to talk to me as much as you can. Okay. Now, when you make a proposal or when you show some sort of projections, okay, because you asked, a lot of you all asked me about the business plan. So when you give a proposal, you have to also talk about your top line and bottom line. In financial terms, a top line or a bottom line means something very, very interestingly and very clearly. Like I said, I'm going to go on marking certain things as we go ahead and discuss. So the first thing that I would want to tell you about, where a business plan or a proposal, which will always talk about something which is your projected top line and bottom line. Okay, so hope the screen is visible to you all. And like I said, this is something which is very, very important. In terms of top line, we talk about revenues. Okay, how much money, how much sale do you think you can do? That projection you will have to give. Now, regardless of whether I'm a startup or regardless I'm a very big company, I will always have to talk about these kind of things which are very critical to my project, which is how much money can I bring in tentatively, right? This has to be obviously incremental in nature. Second thing, so this is the top line, which is sales. Second thing, which is referred to as bottom line or which is called bottom line, is nothing but your profit. So you may also feel, or you may also think that why are we using such difficult or such different words? We can directly say revenue and profit, but in your business proposals which you give out to your investors, these are the words which you will have to refer. Now here comes a very, very interesting topic, which is your triple bottom line. Now these are certain additional topics which I think when I asked you all, I was under the impression that this may have been discussed with you, but not an issue. We'll talk about it right now. So there's a concept of triple bottom line, right? Where we use the word 3P. Okay? And when I say triple bottom line is nothing but profit. So I very well know
Screen is
my
not visible.
Is my screen visible to all of you all?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Yes,
visible.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, if you could please check on your connection once. In case you face any issue, I'll log out and log in again. Okay, so for everybody else, I was saying that in the triple bottom line concept, we are aware that the first bottom line was profit. Okay, over a period of time, people did realize that there is very important element or very important asset in our organization, which is called our people. Now, if you know, if somebody comes in from human resource background, you need to also understand, regardless of how much I talk about green marketing or green enterprises, I need to have like-minded people in my organization. I have to have people who are very passionate about sustainability, who are very passionate about, those social norms which or etiquettes or ethics which we intend to follow. Okay, so that's about people. When I say I would want people who are very, very in line with my organizational goals. So that is referred to as my second P. Now is the time where somebody rightly said that we would not be leaving behind anything good for coming generations because we've been using so much of resource and not, at all having any kind of cautious effort in saving it at all, right? So the third important P now becomes the planet. Now, when I look at the concept of 3Ps, or when I talk about a triple bottom line, my profit is not only nurtured in how much money is left with my company, it is also nurtured with, do I have the right talent in my organization? That defines whether in the coming years I am going to sustain or no. Correct? So this point will also tell you that you will have to recruit very, very cautiously. Okay, a lot of entrepreneurs do also ask us that, we're just hiring a consultant, he will give us some people and those people will come and work with our organization. It never will give you the desired results. You may always realize this also, that when you interact with one of your friends who has an idea, okay, and both of you have run this idea together towards a newer business, and then you meet a third friend of yours, he may not understand your philosophy well. And this is exactly what happens when a consultant also does recruitment for you. It is intended that somebody who's into green entrepreneurship takes that charge or takes some sort of interest in the process of human resource management also. Okay, you will have to do this because anyway you are a different entrepreneur, anyway your philosophy is different, right? Then there's another concept also very clearly on this I would want to talk to you, is how your core values go back to the way you present yourself. What is marketing? Marketing is all about presenting yourself. It is all about building up a great brand for your own company or for a name that people know. Correct? So when I look at people management, it also has to talk about your core values conveyed to them appropriately. Okay. Can you give me any example of any company and their core values? Take any company, whichever you know, whichever is your, maybe an organization which you've been following.
Yeah, Tata.
Okay, great. What is one of the core values of Tata's?
They are inclined more towards giving society to. They prefer to give society instead of making more of wealth, more of profits. So that's their CSR. That's their USP.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So, Tatas will always have this philanthropic kind of viewpoint, right? They will
Exactly.
always look at certain things where we are giving back to the society, right?
Society,
So
exactly.
I
Yeah.
completely agree. So that is one thing. We also have Tatas, because you named Tata, sustainability is also one of their core values, right? Human resource development is also one of their core values. So you see how Tatas have been coming up with policies, philosophies where they take care of their people. Like last week, they launched, one of the announcement that they've made on the human resource management front, where they said we are going to pay the salaries to all the employees whom we have lost because of COVID. Their families will be receiving the amount of salary they were earning every month till the retirement age, which was also a very phenomenal kind of a viewpoint to take care of their people. So I'm glad that you brought out the name of Tata's, because that's of course one brand which all of us look forward to or look up to in terms of human resource building up, right? So my point here is that when I'm looking at a green enterprise, okay, I think I need to build up this base. And Mishra sir, I hope I'm allowed to use my presentation as a whiteboard as we go ahead
Sure,
in the
sure, of course,
discussions.
of course. Of course.
Right. So whenever I look at core value, where does core value stand? Now, because a lot of you asked me about business plan, my first page of business plan will always have something about strategic intent. Now, I would not want to deviate from my main core topic, so I'll give you very brief about business plan. Bear with me a little patiently, because I think you have a session lined up on business plan, which is one of your last sessions, I guess. After this session, you have something on business plan and strategy. So it starts with strategic intent. Okay, and strategic intent talks about a few things like your vision, it talks about your mission, it talks about your core values. Okay, who conveys this, or who is the responsible for putting this or penning this down? This is my entrepreneur. Whoever is the leader or whoever is at that leadership position will have to write or note this down. Where do you see yourself? That very silly question which is asked, I think, in every interview, that where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? This is a question we need to ask ourselves as an entrepreneur. That where do I see myself in as a business brand in 5 years' time? So that defines my strategic intent. Second thing is your strategy formulation. Okay. Now, why strategy formulation? Strategy formulation is important in terms of putting things down as a policy document. that this is what I'm going to do. I will need initially say 10 people. Then I would also look at some sort of regional offices. So I may need one representative in Delhi because I'm looking at filling in some tenders. I may need somebody in down south in Bangalore because I'm looking at bringing in some technology partner on board. I require somebody in Mumbai, being a financial capital. I need some more investors to put in some more money in my business to go forward or to scale up. So strategy, remember that it will happen at 3 levels as you become big, as you grow. It will happen at corporate level. It will happen at SBU. Now SBU stands for Strategic Business Unit. And the third thing is the functional level. These are 3 levels at which we build up a strategy as an entrepreneur. Now, also, I would keep on asking for your feedback in terms of my pace, because all of us as a group are interacting with each other for the first time. It may take us some time to gel up with each other's pace. You may feel that I spoke something and you couldn't just catch it up. Please interrupt at any point of time as freely as you can. So when you look at corporate level, it is more or less a head office kind of a level, जहाँ से आप operate करोगे as an entrepreneur. SBU level comes in where my intent of regional offices are coming into play. Yeah, a lot of time people also do this, that I want to deviate or diversify is the right word. I want to diversify from one product brand to another. Okay, so that diversification is also very, very important decision, and we may need 2 separate people to head these 2 wings. That's where we call them SBU heads, and that's where we come up with some regional offices. So that's a second layer. Okay, they might get an authority to take decisions on their own. But again, when I say Tata has a core value of human resource development, that has to be followed down, or that has to be percolated down the level also. So my regional offices also have to follow this, that you please take care of all my employees and staff members. This goes without saying. Lekin based on your geography, or suppose if you're operating in Gujarat, there are different dynamics of that state. So you can change your strategy there based on your head office approvals. Then comes functional level. Now here comes the task that I enjoy, or the task why I'm here to interact with all of you, where all your departmental level activities will happen, which is marketing, your human resource, finance, IT. All these departments are nothing but when we take decisions on a functional level. So when I say marketing strategy, it is my functional level strategy, where I formulate a strategy. Now, when I have to formulate a strategy for marketing, I cannot forget that my core value today, as a green enterprise, is going to be 3P. Right? So I will not be able to do any small little functional activity which has any conflict with my 3P concept. So I want to earn money. That's the reason why I'm a business house. I have to take care of people, because another very interesting article, I'm sure most of you may be following HBRs, which is Harvard Business Review articles which come in, and they talk about how my people acquisition cost is much more than retention cost. Now it was very surprising, because when you build up a human resource, he or she becomes your asset to the organization, because now he knows his work well, he knows the company well. If you let that person go and you hire somebody else at even a lower cost, the study proves very well that this person is going to become much more costlier for you. So it's good to hold on to people who understand your core values, right? So that's something about your second. The third P is planet. Now goes without saying that there are enormous case studies. In fact, you can give me whatever examples you have also discussed over this workshop. And also I will try to share some case examples with you, show you some important clips which may be of some help to you, how positioning is done with the brand. So when I do some marketing, what happens is this planet approach, or when I am calling myself a green entrepreneur, or if I am somebody who operates from a green business kind of a perspective, I become someone who has an added advantage. Now I can talk to people on one additional pointer, and you can't lose that out when you market, or when you place yourself outside, or when you talk to people. So when you write down your marketing strategy, when you decide how much marketing budget you are supposed to spend on this, when you also decide that are you going to do some sort of national level marketing or advertising, or are you going to start local or regional. So these questions will be answered as we go ahead. Now there is a third layer on your strategy building, right? Now this is called as strategy implementation. Okay, so we have an intent to do something great. We formulate the strategy where my written document has come up now. Now I execute or implement. Now what do I need for execution? There will be few important words which I will be highlighting, right? Very importantly is a CFT. Now, what is CFT? You may find me talking about, finance a little bit. You may have this complaint towards the end of the session कि हमने शुरू marketing से किया था, but we're talking about IT, HR, business, or probably something like profit. There is a mix of it. But I would want to make this confession, which I generally talk to my executive MBA batch students also, that it is always an integrated management now. You can't talk about segregated or isolation in management concepts. So that's exactly what a CFT also means, which is a cross-functional team. Okay, I will need, no matter you tell yourself that it is a small organization. Right now, Sapna, probably we just have 5 people who are working with us and we want to grow. So anyway, they are a CFT, anyway, they are a cross-functional team. So what am I really intending to tell you? When a company from 5, it grows or scales up to 500 people, people become kings of their own kingdom. There is no integration between them. This is going to create a wrong impact for you. Okay, so implementation through CFTs, which means now suppose I'm sure there's something discussed on CSR.
No, we
Yes,
have
ma'am.
not covered.
CSR and PSR, like it was just a brief.
Just a brief.
Okay, can you help me with understanding what CSR is all about? Just in 1 or 2 lines.
Corporate social responsibility, like where corporate people will be inclined towards like giving back to the society.
Mm-hmm.
And PSR
Okay.
is like where professional social responsibility, like where professional people will be intact, like trying to solve the common problems or the social problems through their technology or the knowledge.
Okay. Okay. All right. Amazing. What percentage of profit do we need to spend? What does government tell us?
That information we don't have, and as I said, like, it was
1%
just a
of
brief.
1% of net profit, no?
It is, we close, ma'am. It is at 2% of the profit.
Sorry, 2%. Sorry.
So we have to give away 2% of profit as a compulsion to CSR. But as a corporate house, we all face a lot of pressure too. Okay. And why is this pressure felt? Because again, I'll go back to the career journey of an employee. Okay, I'll note it down for you all here. Hope you find it a little interesting. The moment you feel that we want to move ahead fast, let me know. I can skip the topics and go ahead. When you look at a career journey, this is also a replica of what happens to a business. There is a typical growth cycle of business, which is a bell-shaped diagram that we plot on an X and Y axis. पर इतना detail में हमें जाने की फिलहाल जरूरत नहीं है. So when you look at career, you have something called as exploration. Okay. Then you have something called as establishment. You further have something again very interesting, which talks about your mid career. Okay. So I'll give you the ages also of what is this. A mid career. Then you have something like your late career. And last is what you have as a decline. Okay, now again, why I'm talking to you about this? Because my second P revolves around this important stages of career. Exploration is till the age of somewhere around 26. So somebody who is from the age of 20 to 26 as a person, okay, you try to explore, you try to experiment with your career at its peak, like, you probably take one job, jump jobs, and you see a lot of new, fresh management trainees also do this. Then you look at the second stage where now you think that no, I would want some stability. Let me not jump jobs. I'm great. I'm glad here, and I'm exploring. I'm honing more skills that I have interest in. So that's establishment, where जहाँ पे आपको अपना नाम बनाना है. Mid career. Now you might have heard this phrase very well, which is called as mid career crisis. So establishment is from the age of 26 to 40. Mid career happens somewhere around 40 to 50. Okay, and the the time where somebody is attaining or being close to the age of 40, you all start thinking, or we all start thinking, that there was something else that I wanted to do. Probably I'm a lawyer, but I wanted to be a singer. Probably I am, pushed into engineering by my parents, but I enjoy art. So these kind of thoughts are very prevalent in a phase which is mid career. That's why people switch jobs, jump jobs. People quit their jobs to get into entrepreneurship. People feel that I have enough is enough. I just want to do something else. So you have now a little finance also to take such steps. That's mid career. Late career is where you feel that, oh, if I have to retire in another 10 years, I should retire as a CEO, or I should retire as a board of director. So that's the late career, which is very highly ambitious, where you want to leave behind your mark in the world. And decline is a phase somewhere around 60, where you feel like giving back to society. That's philanthropy. Now, this is very natural way of looking at business also. Why green marketing is very popular, but it gets very difficult while execution, because when we start up, we are at an exploration phase. We want to see which all market is prevalent, from where will I get some money in establishment. You are reinvesting money back in your own business. So CSR takes a back seat. And like I said, it is very natural for a business house jahan pe you are all running after sustenance. You are all trying to earn the salaries for your people, and that is where government is telling you spend that 2% for society. So it gets a little pressure for us, for any business house. But in terms of this triple bottom line, every industry now is trying their level best to utilize CSR as a publicity platform. Okay, I'll tell you what is being done. When I reach a mid career kind of a phase, then I have an important backup with me of experience. I can go ahead in the late career very swiftly, without any hitch, without any problem. Similarly, when you are already focusing on sustainability as a concept, you have a lot to talk about. It's just that how you take that leverage before you become an established brand. So CSR ka kuch bhi active. You take a company called ESDS Software Solution. Okay, the reason why I'm taking first example of this company is it started off with 4 engineers who came in together. Okay, they studied in a tier 2 city. They said that we'll do a startup. Out of these 4 engineers, one person who had made some investment, one friend who has made investment, and other 3 then felt that no, we got jobs, so we are quitting. But obviously somebody who's put in money, which means the computers, a place that you've rented out, already deposit has been paid. So even if it is a small amount, it is money. It is hitting your pocket, right? So this one person stayed back with a strong foot that I'm going to continue on this entrepreneurial idea that I have of an IT company. The company today is a 5,000 plus employee company. It is a Fortune 500 company. And one thing that they've done best is they have leveraged their CSR activities as a part of marketing. Jaise, if I am in a tier 2 city, I have smaller villages around, very, I would say away from the basic facility also. So they joined hands with the corporation. They said, we will adopt the villages and we will make sure that all the things that a village should have to lift up, which is electricity, education, better infrastructure, we will take care of holistic development of a village. Now, they later on realized that, the family or the entrepreneurial family itself had some roots in those villages and they would want to give back. That feeling was there, personal level maybe. But when you do anything of this kind, you use it. So I would say second important point is in marketing, using your CSR activity as a platform to publicize it. People should know what you've done. Now, everybody knows what ESDS has done for these villages. Corporation or the administrators, the IS officers talk about this company, that they are doing something for the country. And that's something which is going to give you a better leverage in marketing. Today, marketing is not like, the 4 P's that you talk about, ki hum apne bare mein baat karenge and we'll do an advertisement and I'm done. It doesn't work that way anymore. You will have to think of something which is offbeat. You will have to think of ideas to position your brand in a manner where other people start talking about you. Not only you, but other people also. So it creates a lot of impact on the society when you do something of this kind. I'm sure CSR activities, you know what CSR is all about, where you can take care of maybe sponsoring education. You can do something like skill development. You can build roads. You can say that we are providing electricity or putting up maybe a mill kind of a thing in a smaller village. All of this people do. Correct. Bosch has also started off with one. They have, I think, one of the most phenomenal journeys of CSR. They have a small office in Bangalore, head office itself. They have CSR department, which operates across the country. And when India started off with skill development mission, Bosch said we would also do something, and we came up. They came up with center of excellence all across India. So that's also something which they now talk about. You go to their website, Google Bosch, go to their CSR tab, you will see all the activities. So they will not leave any platform to talk about it also, no matter whether a big company or a small one. So we have strategic intent, strategy formulation, strategy implementation. Now the last part, which is I think very crucial, is strategy evaluation. Now let's accept the fact that when you come up with a functional strategy of marketing, we may not be able to always succeed. We may not be able to chip into the market the way my competitor had. Okay, so probably somebody who spoke of developing village and he got so much of popularity, when I spoke about it, it backfired. Maybe a possibility, right? That is because they feel that when I'm stationed in some city, I should give back to that city. Why are you adopting a village far off? Do wherever you are actually, consolidating the resources from that region, you should give it back to this region only. So there may be certain kind of conflicts which come in. Until and unless you take some steps for interaction, you may not realize that there will be a few more things which we have to cover and look up to, right? I hope the concept of 3P is clear. The 3Ps are defined very much in the strategic intent itself, that I'm going to look at people and planet along with profit. All of these three things will go hand in hand. And when we say, or when we combine these 3Ps, we talk about sustainability at large. Okay. Now coming to the point that I had to talk to you all about, where we look at the entire perspective, or when we look at how things have been changing. Okay. No matter whether your product is, see, there are some thumb rules about marketing, right? There is something which we have to understand around us. Whether it is a green product or not a green product, certain environmental factors will remain the same, which I think are the background topics which all of us need to be very, very critical about. Have a I would say 360-degree view towards it. Now, when we see the economic value, or when we see where have we been, where it all started, and where are we today, as a context of industry, we all started, okay, as an agrarian economy. Look at Indian context. Even now there are certain cities, even now there are certain towns which are agricultural orientation, which will always have this agricultural orientation, right? So what are they looking at? They are looking at somewhere who's a trader. So some person who's doing agriculture, he's going out to the market and selling the products. So that's an agrarian, I would say, dominant kind of an economy which we've seen. Okay, where our major thing was to extract the commodities, right? So whatever you have as a natural resource, you take that up, you extract it, and you give it back, right? So it is, there's not much of supply chain, there's not much of distribution that happens. One thing is taken, extracted from the natural procedure, given to the distributor or the trader. So that's how it was working. Couple of decades down the line, we saw around in 1990, where LPG came in, the liberalization, privatization, and globalization, we saw the entire manufacturing industry picks up. Correct. Now, even if you're looking at green entrepreneurship, you may be looking at some products. I'm not saying that you're not looking at manufacturing of products, or that's something which is an old school. No. We're looking at manufacturing of products, and this talks about now tangible goods. So from commodities, we move to not just extraction of them, but from whatever we extract now, we want to process it, okay, and make it a good, make it much more standardized. Over a period of time, again, what happened is essentially service industry came in. So you see IT boom that happened in. If you are looking at the city where we are stationed now in Pune, it's become an IT hub, where people, like, there have been parts of Pune which were completely outskirts of Pune, which have developed because of the IT base. But you have to see that over every stage of this new experience economy that we've been moving ahead with, my customer has become very intolerant. ठीक है? Why intolerant? Because if earlier, I used to go out and meet only one supplier and tell him that, I need this component, please get it done for me. That's an industrial experience that we used to have. So that component used to be built up and come to us. That's where typical standardization process used to work. However, because of service economy or because of services that are prevalent now, every person, every brand is trying to reach out to the customer. The customer is not coming to you anymore. You go out to the customer, right? So service industry brought in this very important trait that customer has an entire say towards everything. Okay, and that's the reason why now when you look at a product sale also, and this is very much applicable for you as green marketing also, that when you come up with a product, it is not only about the product, it is about what kind of service are you additionally giving me. Okay, what is it that I can expect, as something more from your side? Can you do that for me? Can you not do that for me? When you are looking at your product, there are 10 other competitors in the same zone. Even if your product is patented, there will be a replica of your product somewhere. Some distributor will come up with that. So as a customer, I have choices today. And if you treat me better, if you give me added services along with your product, then I may stick to your brand, or then I will be a person who is very tolerant about whatever services or whatever product you are trying to give me. Okay, suppose if you are looking at purchasing from all these e-commerce sites today, we can't do away with technology. We can't say that I will do everything, or I will do anything in terms of marketing only on the traditional platform. It will not work. You have to have a mix of traditional and digital marketing both. Okay, so while taking a look at this, essentially your services, like I said, the changeover that has happened in the customer is very simple and very clear. The changeover is, you see that the customer's acceptance, okay, is less. His tolerance has gone down. Correct? Now what can I do more to make him feel better is nothing but the experience economy. Which means that we used to talk about customer satisfaction earlier, like how satisfied a customer is with my product or service. Today we talk about a word called customer delight. The customer has to feel delighted about it, right? Let me give you a small example. When you look at purchasing from Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, okay, these are few top leaders, market leaders these days in e-commerce websites, and they tell you that we will deliver, the commitment is we will deliver you the product in 10 days. Okay, fine, fair enough. You're waiting for product 10 days. It's okay. The brand could leave behind the communication with you, but the brand doesn't do that. What the brand does is they keep sending you messages, dispatch is done, or this is set to reach you on the way, whatever. And they tell you arriving early, right? This product reaches you on the 7th day and you are delighted. The commitment was 10 days, but the brand has tried its level best to give you the product in 7 days. But we people, the weirdest species or the weirdest category of your stakeholder is your customer, which you have to deal at the front end. Now, when Myntra is delivering this product, every time you order, like say once in 2 months, you are ordering something. And every time they give you this message of surprise that, arriving early in 7 days. The 4th time when you do the purchases, what happens now? Look at the psychology of your consumer. When you order this product and you feel that it is saying, it gives you same message, 10 days mein milne wala hai, product will reach you in 10 days. And finally the product comes in on the 8th day. Still the brand has been sticking to its commitment that we've delivered this in 8 days, right? However, the customer is not happy now. The customer feels, no, the brand is not good. Why? Because now my expectation was that even if they give in 10 days, they will be delivering it to me in 7 days. Okay. So the 1 day delay that has happened is not that you are at fault, but I as a customer, my tolerance level went down. Now I hope with this example, you all are understanding what do I mean by this tolerance level very clearly. Okay, so this is what experience economy has done to us. This is what e-commerce platforms have done to us. Now when I'm looking at a green product, it is not that people will come running to you, oh my god, you're a green product, or you're a green entrepreneur, I would want to buy this product. No, please understand, my competition will be with both the existing regular brands as well as everybody who's in the green entrepreneurship. Okay, so I have a little more tough time, but the best thing about this platform gives me an opportunity to put my creativity in action. We also call it application engineering, right? Where whatever I've learned, now it is time to apply it. Correct. Now there was one more site which I want to share with you about when I'm talking about this experience economy and how people are trying to make you feel good. Okay, whenever you order from a site, because we are in this pandemic, we're all talking to each other on virtual platforms, so I'm giving you more examples on the digital platform modes. So there's a site called Coves.com. Okay, this Coves is also a competitor of all the e-commerce sites that I mentioned to you. When Coves started off, they realized that people are feeling that personal touch is missing. Or when you buy a product, I feel that the product is just coming to me with some package box dropped at my gate, that's all. Coop started doing something called a handwritten letter which used to come down with every order. Okay, suppose they have, of course, very selected products on their website, and what they are doing is, when you order for something, suppose if you've ordered for some kind of lavender fragrance sticks, something like home decor product that you've ordered, when you order something like this, they write to you a letter that, dear Mr. So and so, and greetings from Coves, and we are very glad that your choice is very, very, very royal, or they'll use all of these kind of adjectives to make you feel good, and also talk about how we feel contented when you pick up a product from our website. Now, handwritten letters, you can imagine what we would have done in the back end. We hire interns, we tell them that we are going to give you some stipend or some certification, and please look at this kind of personalization of an effort. So today, I just can't do away with personalization. I'm sorry, without personalization, right? I have to make every individual feel that this is personalized, customized for you. So we say that today the buyer has become a guest, and I am the one who's trying to give you an appropriate platform. Right? I give you the stage to talk about yourself, and that stage, the person who's on stage is nobody but your customer. So this is a kind of changeover that has happened. Now, to cut the long story short, why are we discussing about this in the first place? Is because now when you talk about your green product, okay, give me an example of one or two green products. Or it can come in from the cases that you've discussed. You said that we got to know a lot of examples. Give me any product example. We'll see how we do marketing for them.
Ma'am, incense sticks made from flowers.
Okay.
Then materials made from cow dung.
All right.
Like diyas and all.
Okay.
I came across yesterday and day before a very brilliant concept of aloe vera e-cell.
Okay.
That hits. That was like Zara Hatke kind of a product, which I really found very creative.
Okay. Could you also help me understand what the product was? Maybe if you could throw some more light on this.
To be very honest, I belong to commerce stream, so I have a very less knowledge about science and all. But then yesterday, Atul sir and one more keynote speaker, they told us about aloe vera e-cell. Like the e-cell, the electronic cell was made out of aloe vera gel.
Okay, I got it now. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Ma'am, instead of
biodegradable plates, ma'am, biodegradable plates, and sometimes eatable plates also have seen.
Let me know because what we're talking, the cell battery which we use, in our electronic items.
Yes.
So all that battery is having chemicals like lead and mercury.
Correct.
So now one entrepreneur has did this innovative idea of using this aloe vera, using this chemical energy to electrical energy. So this will be completely biodegradable. So there is no harmful to environment. So that's how this has come up as a one green startup.
Okay, okay, I understand. Great. All right. Okay, so when we are looking at these products, now one thing is clear that when I'm looking at back on my functional level or back on my strategic intent, I have everything that is either recyclable, everything that is either eco-friendly, everything either that focuses on biofuel production, everything that also looks at maybe electronic refurbishment, that's what we call it, so that we focus on a few dimensions on this, right? We say either we are minimizing waste, either we are making something, you make best out of waste kind of a thing, or a workshop that is going on parallelly, so that can be done. So when you look at all of these sectors or all of these aspects, think of what can I do differently, right? When I say what can I do differently, I mean to say while positioning your product or while talking about the product, you will have to do something in terms of making the experience better for the people. Now imagine you spoke of this aloe vera battery or cell. I'm just giving you a very hypothetical assumption here, okay? The products that we are speaking about are all tested, tried, accepted in the market. We agree. But let's assume that we are at a very initial stage of developing this product prototype, and while developing the prototype we feel that this product is very difficult to dispose of. Okay, so my customer will, if the moment he realizes that there is some problem, he will not experiment with it. Okay, so whenever you are looking at positioning your product as a substitute to some utility, okay, going back to a little marketing term, these days we don't look at a product, we don't look at a service, okay, we look at the utility. Jaise, for example, we used to remember old times. I also do remember back home when there was some furniture requirement. There will be a traditional carpenter coming in with his typical kind of attire that he'll wear and gesture. So the moment he comes in, we know he's a carpenter. He'll start taking measurements with a pencil on his ear, marking, noting something down here and there, and then he will, although that 1 week drama that would start up with the entire furniture being made at home completely to be have, and it is like a fixed furniture with inch and inch measured. Later on came the time where you started off doing a ready-made purchase of furniture. Okay, then this was also a product. Earlier it was a very I would say streamlined, made for you kind of a product. Now it's like everybody's utility can suffice with this one kind of a fit to all kind of a product of furniture. Then comes in a time where you start shopping furniture online. Right, there is a phenomenal case study on Urban Ladder. I'm sure you might have also heard about this brand. So Urban Ladder says that, okay, you buy from us online, it's fine. So you started doing that now. Then, and you send things back. I mean, I was so surprised to see that furniture can also be, something which is returnable. So you can send the entire thing back, and reverse logistics will be taken care by the brand. Now is a time where there are websites like Rento Mojo. Now what Rento Mojo does is that you can rent out the furniture. Look at the way we are all now living. Like there are family members in different cities. If you want to have maybe a career in a different city, if you probably do architecture in Mumbai, you would want to go to Pondicherry to see what the architectural essence is. So this is the kind of openness that we have today, that I can't have a fixed house. Why will I have a fixed furniture to sell it on OLX later? So go to Rento Mojo. So it is not, like I said, about the product or service. Whether as a customer I go for a product, whether I take a service of renting things from you or borrowing things from you for some time, I am looking at the utility. So I was probably looking at a sofa set as a utility for sitting and watching a television in the living room. That's the utility that you are fulfilling. So try highlighting whenever you talk about MarCom, which is marketing communication, you will have to start talking about how we are fulfilling, how we are very delightfully giving you an experience of your utility satisfaction. So whatever it is, whether it is your cell, whether it is your essence sticks, whether it is a biodegradable plate. correct, or any other equipment that you would want to bring out as an example. So all these activities have to be done in a manner that the communication is continuous with the person, right? And we come across a lot of advertisements also these days, which are now emotional advertisements, right? They are no more an advertisement that talks about a product. They talk about emotion, right? Have you ever come across something which talks about emotional advertisement? Any brand that comes to your mind?
Ma'am, Raymond.
Okay.
Dairy Milk,
Ma'am, some banks.
chocolates.
Okay. Yes, all of these brands do emotional advertisements. I would want to show you one ad here quickly. We'll take a look at that. It has nothing to do directly with the green marketing. I will be very clear here. But I would want to tell you something in context of your emotional ads here. I hope it's available on the open platform. Let me just check it out for you.
Samsung.
Yes, Samsung did what kind of an ad?
Mom, girls education, girls technical education. A girl was take the admission in a kind of electric work, and after in a situation he will repair the lights of the whole house, and it will means enlightening their father that you are the boy of my family, not a girl.
I agree, absolutely. I think this is one similar ad in terms of when you look at gender bias. Let's look at it. I'm not going to play the entire thing. I'll give you the link for you to take a look at it later, and I will also leave behind my contact coordinates. So all of you are most welcome to get in touch after the session too. But initial 5 minutes, I do want to discuss with you. So let's take a look at it, please.
स्कूल जा रहा है तो पापा ने बोला तू स्कूल नहीं जा सकती, स्कूल से भैया जाएगा। इसलिए मैंने सोच लिया है कि मैं भी भैया जैसे बाल काट के भैया जैसे कपड़े भी पहनूंगी, और फिर सबको लगेगा कि मैं लड़का हूँ, और फिर मुझे भी स्कूल जाने मिलेगा।
So this was one initiative done by Nestle. The reason why we're bringing out Nestle, or we're talking about Nanni Kali as an example, when you go out and market your green products, of course I'm going to come to technical terms of what is green pricing, what is green packaging, but before entering there, understand the entire concept has to be today talking about emotion. It's not about the technical process कि हमने ये use किया है, हमने ये process use किया है, या you know this is the kind of raw material we are using, these are the product features. ये will be already known to the customer, because see, customer is much more informed than we are. What all of us do immediately, suppose if there's a question that comes in, we immediately Google. So there is open platform of information available. Your product features can go there. But advertisements or marketing communication today is completely emotion driven. It is no more something.
Hey, you guys having pizza? Huh? Presume? Pizza. पिज्जा पिज्जा, अच्छा वही तो बोला था, पिज्जा आएगा। जाने कहां से आई है हमें ये दूरियां, कौन किसी ने कब लाई है ये दूरियां, हाथ भर का फासला क्यों रहे ये भला, मिट सकती है ये दूरियां, मिट सकती है ये दूरियां। मिट सकती है ये दूरियां। हाथ बढ़ा के दूर कर दे दूरियां। मिट सकती है ये दूरियां। मिट सकती है ये दूरियां।
किधर
बढ़ा के दूर कर दे दूरियां। मिट सकती है ये दूरियां। मिट सकती है ये दूरियां। हाथ बढ़ा के दूर कर दे दूरियां।
हिंदी मीडियम डब्बा है, चलेगा?
मिट सकती है ये दूरियां। मिट सकती है
सम्राट आटा।
Yeah, so the reason being showing you this ad, majorly these things are run on the electronic platforms, right? I will do a YouTube ad. I will go ahead using other digital marketing platforms. I may not show this as a TV ad because it's a lengthy version of your regular TV advertisements. But whenever I'm doing something in marketing, look at movement from product feature film to an emotional feature film. Recently, Prega News also did one of this emotional ad which went viral in terms of audiences sharing it as much as possible on the digital platform zones. Green marketing, precisely now, like one thing is understanding the whole of marketing, where exactly is the movement happening. So the movement has happened from transaction to relationship. Okay, so we are not just trying to do a give and take in terms of you buy my product and give me some money. It's about building a long term relationship with you and ensuring that you are my loyal customer, right? From here onwards, if you look at drilling it down to what green marketing means, it talks about promoting your goods, services, any product that you want to give out, which is done by basis of ecological balance, right? So when I say that in marketing, I'm going to raise the voice. I can come up with an advertisement which talks about what's happening with a lot of e-waste. If I'm somebody who is manufacturing an electronic product which can be, the moment you use it, it will go on diminishing, right? You don't have to throw anything by the time you use that particular product, right? This could be a battery, this could be a typical torch that you use, and there is this one torch which is in currently the prototyping stage. Can I just request all of you to please keep yourselves on mute if there isn't any question? So going back to what I was saying in terms of this torch, which is in a prototype stage. So it's a huge torch, right?
Slides are not moving.
I'm very sorry, Sapna ma'am.
Just
Your
wait.
mic.
She would be joining back. Maybe some.
Your mic is muted, ma'am.
Can we wait for some time?
Popo. Popo.
Am I audible to you all now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I'm so sorry. I think there's something went wrong here. Are you able to see the slides now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So for those of you who were not able to hear, I hope you were able to hear the audio of the clip that I played.
Yes, ma'am.
The last one, yes, we have seen.
Okay, great. So when we looked at the Samrat Tata ad, I was talking to you about this one thing wherein we spoke of this transition from the traditional or transactional marketing to the relationship marketing, or tapping up an emotion that you will have to recall every time when you put out content, specifically on the digital media platforms. So I cannot put these ads generally as a TV ad or this content in a traditional hoarding, but I can do a lot on the digital media platforms, which are much more reasonably priced. Okay, so this philosophy, now drilling down to green marketing, talks about you raise your voice against issues which are, somewhere your utility has to be positioned there. Like, for example, if you are a person coming up with a product which is very easily disposable, talk about how difficult it is to dispose of the competitors' products without naming those products. So when you start off talking about these social problems in your marketing communication, it becomes very easy to place your product in the market, right? Talk about what kind of harm the other products are talking. Now, somebody spoke of, those essence sticks. If I look at these essence sticks, if you are looking at probably some room fresheners that are being sprayed, talk about what is the harm of using a room freshener. Not that you are targeting or hitting hard on your competitor or you have any problem with that brand, but this kind of communication will help position your product. तो अगर ये इतना problematic है room freshener, so what is the solution for it? Here it is, the essence sticks that I'm talking about. So talk about how you are taking an effort to save the environment largely. Okay, this is very, very important in terms of putting out some sort of communication examples. Now, marketing in under the green marketing zone, we look at highlighting a few pointers. Now, when you go back to your own product in your proposal, you will have to talk about these points. This is a part of your business plan. This is a part of your proposal. This is a part of your functional level marketing strategy also. Wherein, if there are certain products available in the market, how have you modified your product? Okay, so modification can happen in raw material. Modification can happen in the process that you're using. Suppose there was how these tribal goods are marketed. I think very well marketed and placed products across India. The reason why I'm saying this is that they're marketed well. One simple thing we need to keep in our consideration, that whenever they talk about it, they talk about how they are giving employment to tribal women. And all of us, it takes our heart away that why are we buying something which is machine processed, or why are we giving money to a brand which is already very rich? Let's help some strata of society. So you see how my emotion is tapped. So if there is any change in the production process, write about it in your proposal also. Okay, one very classic change is packaging. I will talk about green packaging and give you some examples. But if you are able to eliminate plastic, either it is plastic bag, either it is a plastic bottle, you remember how Paperboat positioned themselves? Are you aware of the brand Paperboat?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Any specific highlight that you would want to bring about Paperboat? Why is it different than anybody else?
They haven't used plastic for doing the packaging.
Absolutely. So if you, again, there's a very nice video. What I'll do is post this session, I'll try to consolidate some content for you with some links, because it is very irresistible to stop myself and not share things. So if we are not able to cover, I think you will receive certain links from my side. I'll be passing it to Mishra sir and he'll certainly pass it on to all of you. So that little interview which you hear of the founder of Paperboat, he came up with the brand idea. And when you're looking at green entrepreneurship, I think the brand name also plays a very important role in marketing. This is not something which a book or a researcher will tell us, but this is somebody who's looked at a lot of brands, and this is an experience that I can share with you, that a brand name can also hit hard. Okay, and it could talk about an emotion. Why Paperboat here is, and the name came up so surprisingly that they were all, of course, few of you may be aware of the brand story, but since morning till late evening, they were thinking about what should be the name. Like all those people, friends sitting together, employees, staff members, what should be the name of this brand that we are starting off, in terms of our product. So they came up with some shero shairi to lighten the mood, and somebody just said ki kagaz ki kashti barish ka pani. So that kagaz ki kashti became Paperboat as a brand. And this is exactly how a brand story comes up. And they came up with Paperboat because they wanted to hit the emotion of nostalgia. Now, if you look at all the marketing content, it is all about nostalgia. It is about the trains. It is about writing letters to someone. It is about going back to your, I would say, maternal parents' house when it is summer vacation. So all of that. Their initial products were also something like Gol Gappe Ka Pani and Aam Panna and all of that. So the packaging was something which was a promotional kind of an activity which made the brand look different. Of course, their flavors and maybe some kind of I would say variants which were not available earlier, which they came up with, but packaging was a very highlighted version of Paperboat. So you modify all your advertisements accordingly. So where the advertisements have to be linked with the emotion that you're going to tap. Are you tapping the emotion of the planet? Are you looking at more greenery around? Then tap over it. Are you looking at lesser waste? Tap on that. So every ad content will be structurally, I would say, aligned to it, very well aligned to it. And I'm going to show you some Instagram pages also, because I can't do away with social media marketing in terms of any sort of marketing domain today. That is something which is most exploited kind of platform. I think most organic platform also, because I don't pay a lot of money there. Okay, मैन्युफैक्चर्ड इन अ सस्टेनेबल फैशन. लोगों को प्रोसेस दिखाओ. अगर आपके प्रोसेस में कहीं भी वेस्ट नहीं है एंड यू थिंक दैट इज योर यूएसपी, make a little video, post it on the social media that this is how clean my manufacturing process is, and it will help you out for sure. ये वाला point आपके proposal में भी जा रहा है कि मेरी manufacturing process में what is it that is way too sustainable? Why am I talking about zero waste? So that has to be picked up. Toxic materials you are not using. Now you generally see those fitness photographs before and after. You can always use those when you're doing green marketing. That this is the reality. This is what everybody is doing today. And here is why I am different. Okay. This is where we have reached out, after a lot of research that we've done. That's the bridge for you for sure to reach out to a bigger market share. Okay. And there are ways and tactics. Understand that green product may not be accepted as a market leader instantly. It will be something which will be moving across in the society or the sector or your potential customers like word of mouth publicity. Correct? So word of mouth happens on the digital platform also. I'll show you how it's done too. Then you talk about the recyclable. Are you also a brand which will take back the product after use? I remember there was one innovator who came up with, I think that has become a very popular product today. I'm talking about 3 years back, where he came up with a typical, you had those sand timers, correct? You keep those sand timers in the traditional way. You have it with some game that this is 1 minute's timer. So if the sand finishes, which means that you have to flip it over again. So he made a similar equipment, okay? A table-sized equipment that he made, where you put up all your home waste, which means the kitchen waste, in that particular kind of a timer thing. He gives you a specific powder, which is like a fertilizer, which you also sprayed over this garbage and keep it. It won't stink. You keep it about for 48 hours. You see the entire garbage becomes powder and goes down on the second side of this sand timer, right? These people on daily basis come back to you and collect that material from you and sell it out as fertilizers. Okay, so this again this was incubated by IIM Bangalore, and this became a very sustainable model. So these machines became like a household dustbin. So rather than having a dustbin, you have a dustbin size equipment kept, and you keep on putting all the household kitchen waste in that, right? If you feel that you don't want to give away these fertilizers, you want to use it in your house garden, you can use it. So are you looking at any kind of renewable material? Is recycling something which is very highlighted aspect of your product or service? Talk about it. Talk as much as you can about it, right? And don't try to, we say that don't bring out your weaknesses in any kind of marketing communication. It's not about being manipulative. It's not about hiding things, but it is about not talking about it until and unless asked. ठीक है, अब जब हमने ये उनको पूछा कि ये जो इक्विपमेंट आपने बनाया दिस इज प्लास्टिक और नॉट, then they will tell us that what is the material. But when you try to market this dustbin, like this is a replacement of a dustbin that they were saying in the kitchen, so if you immediately in your marketing you talk about this is made out of maybe plastic, assume that it's made of plastic, people will of course laugh at you that when you're saying that you have to use it as a compost and you're saying that it's made of plastic, how come you can call yourself green or biodegradable that way? So look at what you are going to publicize and what you are going to wait till the information is asked for. That's a very important point in the marketing context. Okay. So yeah, so I'll take up a few examples and then come back to this one slide, which is very interesting according to me. So heard of this concept of green wrap?
No.
No?
No, ma'am. I heard Fuji for cycles, bicycles.
All right. Okay. So, they have this program called Program for Endorsement of Forest Certification, okay, where we are saying that your ingredients, okay, or a specific, a specific kind of pulp which is used to manufacture the green wrap, it is 60% recycled, by consumers' waste. Now, this was something which came up in Australia, where they're saying that we would want offices to use this kind of paper. So this is like a typical A4 paper which a Xerox machine uses. So they came up with calling it green wrap. Okay. Now, what is this? When I look at a marketing mix, can you tell me what are the 4 P's of marketing mix?
Is it product, place, price, and promotion?
It is product, place, price, promotion. And then we have a lot of more P's. In social media marketing, if you ask me, there is a 5th P called platform. So when we have to decide whether I'm going to do it on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook or Twitter, that is which is the platform which I will use. Okay, I will hold on to that 5th P for 2 minutes and I'll come back to product. Now there is a possibility that I do something like the product itself is green. So talk about the product. Emotion आएगा बाद में, लेकिन my marketing communication will be completely about the product. How essentially my product is green and how well it is green. Okay. Then comes in something like green positioning, right? In this, when I'm saying that I'm looking at the aspect of promotion, which is your 2nd P, apart from the product, I am sure you might have heard of the brand Body Shop. Let me also know if the case is covered. I will skip it.
Yes, ma'am.
Heard of the brand? What do you think they're doing differently?
They say it as more as a like natural products, and even the cosmetics are not. They are not used from any of the what you can call it as animals output or anything, and moreover they don't advertise.
I think they are trying to encash our emotions again.
Okay.
By such marketing, like Patanjali and other people are doing so. They are using green color and somehow they are trying to encash the emotion.
Okay. I agree. Now, what Body Shop has done is Body Shop one after the other, which is either you look at their packaging, okay, either you look at the product ingredients, either you also look at I would say the utility that they talk about. All of it is related to green and sustainable. Now, I'm sure all of you will also agree that it's a highly priced product, but the sale has not gone down because people feel that it is soothing. People feel that there is no side effect to this. When you look at their paper bags also, they're all handmade. They're not like a regular bag which you know go out for shopping and you get. So even if I am trying to be a green brand, there are brands which will try to do a 360-degree positioning. Matlab, I will leave no stone unturned to talk about how green I am. Okay. So there was one blogger who had written about Body Shop some time back, I think a couple of months back, where he spoke of, Body Shop is trying to be greener than green. So he bought the pun, which was very much intended in the article, where he said that it is not just the color, but everything that they do. Right. So in a while, you will probably see people working or the sales. He ended up again with on a funny note where he said that when you visit Body Shop these days after the pandemic, probably you will see people draped in trees or those green leaves, and they won't wear their uniforms. So that was the fun part of it. But yes, I would see, on a serious note, Body Shop is doing everything to tell the customer that our brand is trustworthy and we're completely green. So my entire positioning, brand positioning that we talk about, is based on how green I am. Okay. And when we promote these aspects, we are also not forgetting the environmental side of it. Okay, there is waste reduction, there is climate control. So I think this is something which we've spoken of, so I may not get into a lot of detail here. This is interesting. Heard of this Tide cold water clean? Which is called as green pricing. It's a subset of your third P now, pricing. How can price be green? That's my important question for all of you.
Are they donating some part of their earning, ma'am, profits?
Okay, that's one way of looking at it. I'll elaborate on it. Now, the reason, yes, anybody else wants to share something about this?
The price is reachable within the limits of the common type of consumer.
Okay.
Within the reach of the consumer, I mean to say, whatever the platform is, the poorest or the richest, they can avail or use the product.
Okay.
Is it the earning that is again used as an investment?
One way of looking at it. Let me hear everybody out, and then I'll tell you what it is all about.
Is it something related to electricity bill?
It is something related to electricity bill. See, this example I stopped by for some time, and I gave that space in between to hear you all out. I believe that this is one case example that can tell you that when you speak to people about your product in a manner, like in marketing, always, since time immemorial, we've been talking about the product and placement of the product. Okay. So for me, I have seen all of you will have a great kind of a product. Like whether you talk of any of these products that you tomorrow want to start off with, my problem or concern will always be about how you position or present your product in a manner which people agree or people are attracted to, right? This brand, which is Tide, which is having a decent market share already in the domain that they came up with an interesting strategy of green pricing. Now, this is all about communicating with people. ठीक है, वो real में क्या हो रहा है या क्या नहीं हो रहा है, इतना detailed consumers कभी नहीं जाएंगे. But going back to what I had to say, they publicized this product, which is cold water clean. Right. You remember, again, I had no such tips of these household activities initially, but I got to know from my mother that if you have to wash whites, you soak it in hot water. Correct? And even if you look at these hotels, restaurants that operate, all their apparels go in hot water laundry. So they call it hot water laundry. Now, for this assessment or the research that they've done on that product, that's what they claim. Okay, I'm not sure about how much the claim is true or false. But when they claim that we are going ahead with a product like this, which will save all the electricity that you spend on heating your water. So you don't need the warm water. या तो आप heater में कर रहे हो, या तो you are heating that water up on your gas or whatever source you are using to keep the water warm. Some energy is wasted, some natural resource is wasted. Here it is. You are saving that price in terms of heating that water, in terms of giving your electricity bills. So you don't have to do it. Use our product. It will remove stains like your warm water does. That's what they have publicized it like. Okay, now you know why I'm saying that it's about the language, it's about your presentability also. And both of this, I'm not saying कि आप ऐसा कुछ green मत करो and talk about green. That's not what I'm saying. Please don't take me wrong. I'm trying to put up a message that both will go hand in hand. Strike a right balance between doing it and also talking about it. Now, I think this was one of the most interesting ways in doing something like green pricing. Right? Are you all with me? Hope there's no doubt on this.
Yes, ma'am.
So the last P is about your packaging. A lot of companies in and around Maharashtra have started off this green packaging. Of course, post-pandemic, this has given a vibe that we will do green packaging. Do not use any kind of packages which are not degradable or specifically which create a lot of waste. Correct. Now, I would also want to show you one case example where I'll be very brief on this too. There's a company called Repurpose. Repurpose Global. Has anybody heard of this brand before? I'm showing you their official website. So rather than picking up screenshots or snippets from here, I thought I'll show you the actual website only. Any idea of this company?
No.
Repurpose? Okay. The reason why I'm telling you that this brand is important. So you can surf on the website a little bit when like I said, you have some time. You look at the kind of strategic partners they have brought in. Okay, the co-founder is Miss Swanika, who happens to be from an Indian origin. Okay, that's the reason why I think this is an important case to share with you. So she started off with Repurpose, and today her head office, because she studied in US, her head office is in US, and they have various solutions, sustainable solutions. Okay, so what they tell the brands is that you should become plastic neutral in terms of packaging. Right? Swanika also is an important name because she was featured in Forbes 30 under 30 for all the work that she's done in waste management. Okay, and like I said, there are Indian names which became global in green entrepreneurship or green marketing. What these people do is they talk to brands like Lakme, brands like Estee Lauder, who have very stringent packaging. Now, if you've used these brands, you will know that when you throw across, half the product is thrown out as a waste, right? As a waste of packaging. If you look at Marks and Spencer, all their cosmetic products, believe me, half of the pack is what you're throwing in terms of weight also. Right? So if you have a 400... So if you've got a 400 gram product, 200 gram is something which you are going to throw away, right? So be careful about this. So this brand, it goes back and tells people that, look, if you are Lakme, you can use some other solution. We empower your business to be green. Correct? So one is you get into green entrepreneurship. Second way of it, looking at this business, is you help others to become green. And that's what Repurpose is all about. They also give you some sort of credit points, like you get certifications. So they give you a plastic neutral certification also. And they ensure that you remain plastic neutral in the years to come. Okay. And I really feel that this is an interesting case for all of you to dive into detail. And in case you think that it is worthy of discussion anytime later, we will certainly try to do it with all of you, maybe on one-to-one basis or in a smaller group of discussion. Right? So that was about your green packaging. So yeah, you either take other people's help or you do it yourself in terms of packaging in green. But because your package is something which is the first impression of your customer on your product, right? Imagine that all the beverage bottles are kept and there is paper boat also kept. So that is something which attracts people, a different packaging. So look at that. There was also one video which went viral that you can eat the plates. I think it was somewhere in China. I'm not able to recall the city, but they said that once you eat the food, you can eat the plate also. In India, it is a difficult way to digest because traditionally people throw away the plates, or plates are to be washed, not to be eaten. Correct. So that's something which was hard in Indian market to establish as a brand, but otherwise it is also an important way to look up to as green packaging. Something which is away from your all the 4 P's is green disposal. And I think all of us do need a lot of help in green disposal, and this will also be one of your major unique selling point when you're doing marketing. Have, no matter whatever product you are using, the disposals have to be clean. There should be no byproduct. There should not be any kind of hassle to your customer in the way of disposing this product off, right? Yeah. So to sum it all up, of course, I have a lot more to speak to you all on the digital database, which I'm holding on to intentionally. But the golden rules of your green marketing are that, remember one thing, that customer knows it all. Gone are the days ki hum customer ko kuch, we will educate our customers. No. Here also, these days when we don't call ourselves as faculty members, we don't call ourselves as lecturers, we call ourselves as a facilitator, because every student also knows everything already. All we are doing is we connecting the dots for you. So believe that the customer is aware. Okay. Reassure customer loyalty. Tell people about what they're doing is a good thing to the society, and it is going to be sustainable in the long run. Right? Don't lie. Like I said, that when you are doing any kind of communication today, don't lie. You may also have heard of what Sebamed did recently to HUL. Because I'm speaking of marketing, I think this is also one of the classic case examples. Any idea of what was a recent High Court case of Sebamed brand, which is a German brand, to HUL, Hindustan Unilever Limited?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So I have to show you this. So bear with me for a minute too. See, there was this controversial kind of advertisements which were done. I'll try to show you that band. Here it is. Okay. So these were the hoardings. Now, even if you're visiting somewhere on highways or some specific kind of place which is very popular, you will see something like this. You see my screen where Sebamed has directly named Lux and Rin. They've also named Dove. This went on the hoarding directly. When you say I can't hit my competitor, which means I can't hit my competitor. I could have shown a pink soap and a blue soap. People would have understood what brand is it. But Sebamed was, like I said, wanting to enter the Indian market as a household name. So they said that they are claiming that their pH level is low, but their pH level is very high, which is harsh on skin. So what they're trying to show you is Lux and Rin, where you feel Rin is very harsh and Lux is very smooth on my skin. Both of them have the same pH level. It went on. So HUL took it up, as a legal action on Sebamed in the High Court, in the Mumbai High Court, and of course they're going to pay a lot of penalty. So the reason this case has been very heated up, or it's much talked about, is that when you are making a claim, make sure that there are some transparencies. Don't attack the competitor directly, because as a green startup, it may backfire to you. Now, there is a different strategy why Sebamed did this particularly, and why a lot of loyalists of Sebamed did not like it, because it was an imported brand. It was something which medical practitioners suggested it. If you are you're consulting a dermatologist, they would suggest you Sebamed couple of years back. But today people feel that, oh, why Sebamed had to do that? But understand that they went on into doing something like controversial marketing, जो हमें नहीं करना है. In green marketing, you will not do something like controversial marketing, because if your brand falls back, it will take a lot of time to do rebranding. So don't get there. Reconsider your pricing, which means if you are saying, now you remember, because we were talking about soaps just now in terms of Sebamed, I can also tell you these handmade soaps which came in, correct? So they were very high priced products. In the context of your customer segmentation, understand whether I am decently pricing my product. Your product may be phenomenal. आपसे अच्छा कोई product हो ही नहीं सकता है. Probably this is the fact, but price it at a very reasonable rate so that your competitors also feel, they don't have a competitive edge and your customers feel comfortable in giving you that chunk of money. And last but not the least, I think customer participation today is very important. So engage with your customers, no matter whichever platform you are trying to use, make sure that you are interacting with them as much as possible. Okay, so overall, like I said, there are something like influencer marketing. There's something like talking to your employees as employee branding, right? This is also a concept which has picked up a lot. Employee branding or employee advocacy talks about my employee will become my brand ambassador. Okay, it is very natural that, if you are talking about great advertisements and one of your employee tells me that don't use, it's a pathetic product, don't use it, I'm going to trust him because he's an insider, right? I'm not going to trust all your TV actors or Bollywood actors who are giving me great advertisements on TV. So your employee plays very vital role. I think this is where I started from, and this is where I would want to conclude, right? So if there are any questions, please feel free to ask me. I think generally last 10-15 minutes we do keep for question answers, and I would want to stop for question answers if there are any.